It is the last day of February 2015. Good evening and welcome to Ebru Africa Primetime News. I'm Sam Gakunyi. We have a lot ahead on this broadcast, but first, today's top stories.
Wengine wamekuwa wazee bado wakigojea kupata title deeds. Siku ya leo tunataka kufunga maneno haya.
Delivering the promise, Jubilee government rolls out the next phase of issuance of title deeds. Fight against elephant poaching receives major boost. China bans ivory imports.
I hope that we can all join hands and support Lorna Kiplagat for her landmark initiative.
Africa's first exclusively tailored female sportswear shop opens. Russia's opposition leader killed. Outspoken critique of President Vladimir Putin assassinated. In our top story tonight, elderly men and women were in the lineup to receive title deeds in the latest issuance by the national government. President Uhuru Kenyatta led the exercise in his two-day tour in Meru County. The president assured of Jubilee government's determination to ensure all genuine landowners get title deeds.
President Uhuru Kenyatta and Lands Cabinet Secretary Charity Ngulu took title deeds to Meru County. These elderly men and women are having a rare chance of their life getting title deeds after waiting for a lifetime.
Kuna wazee ambao wamewacha familia zao, walikuwa wamepata hizo allotments zamani na mpaka wa leo. Wengine wamefariki, wengine wamekuwa wazee bado wakigojea kupata title deeds. Siku ya leo tunataka kufunga maneno haya.
The Lands Ministry continues to make strides in its milestone of issuing 3 million title deeds across the country. Recently opened titling center is expected to give a speedy processing of title deeds.
Mwananchi akienda kuagiza title deed yake, anazungushwa na ni haki yake. Mambo haya tumesema ndani ya serikali yetu lazima yakome.
The president said the title deeds will no longer be a campaign tool to be used by politicians to gain mileage during electioneering period.
Kila saa unasimama unaongea shamba. Usichague fulani kwa sababu ya shamba, usifanye kitu fulani kwa sababu ya shamba. Sisi hatutaki hiyo upuzi. Sisi tunataka wananchi waweze wapate haki yao.
The Jubilee government plans to distribute 800,000 new title deeds across the country in efforts to help reduce the high level of conflicts in the land sector.
To a charity-worthy time and the smiles on faces. In partnership with other Rotary clubs in Kenya, Rotary clubs today hosted a rally for physically and mentally challenged children at the Jamhuri Showgrounds in Nairobi. This event brought together over 3,000 children from 40 different schools and homes in and outside Nairobi for fun, games and entertainment.
Dancers, comedians and music characterized the colorful event that was meant to give the physically disabled students from different schools a chance to interact among themselves and the Rotarians. They helped settle down kids in their respective sitting areas as well as distribute them to ensure no single kid goes without their pack. They also danced and played with the kids. According to the Rotary Club President Kamal Sangani, this event was quite timely with the anniversary of the club, as well as marking some of its achievements, especially in the eradication of polio in Africa.
We do a lot of charity work, but one of our primary projects that we've done over the years, and which is our primary goal, is to eradicate polio from the world. You all know that polio was a very serious problem in the world. 25 years ago, and Rotary decided that this was going to be the #1 mission. And I'm very proud to announce that on our 110th anniversary that we can now declare Africa to be completely polio-free.
He also added that there were plans to collaborate with the First Lady Margaret Kenyatta on her campaign to eradicate maternal deaths.
The second big initiative we want to announce today is our great support for the mother and child project of Her Excellency, the First Lady, Margaret Kenyatta, and we're fully supporting her initiative. And in the next few weeks, we're going to roll out a program where we're going to support her projects by helping with maternal child care help in 15 hospitals around the world, around the country. And this is an initiative that we're doing in partnership with Her Excellency, Mrs. Kenyatta.
Among the Rotarians in this rally was Mani Chandaria, who also thanked Rotaract for helping him serve others.
Light is the Rotary gave me the platform. It gave me the initiative. It gave me that, yes, a service is needed and you're not obliging. It should come from your heart. And I think besides that, I think Chandaria Foundation has done a lot of things. And the most important part is that I started this way back when I was chairman of the Rotary Club.
The Rotary Sunshine Rally, however, faces some challenges, and according to Janet Madenge, among the greatest challenges they face is the high number of students in some schools, as well as improper communication among the student facilitators.
Some schools, for example, schools in Machakos, they have over 200 children, and buses going to Machakos is very difficult to get. So we'd like to take every child, but sometimes it's almost impossible. So we'd have to have 4 or 5 buses going to the same school, but sometimes we have to scale down, and we'd like to take every child. So we're hoping that in the future, more people would try to donate buses, even churches.
It was a great day for all the children, as it encourages them to overcome whatever challenges life puts in their way, proving that disability is not inability.
Moving on, Chief Justice Willy Mutunga will soon launch a national bail policy that will guide police and judicial officers on the application of laws that provide for bail and bond. An 8-member task force chaired by Justice Lydia Achode that was appointed by Mutunga to evaluate application of bail has already completed its work and handed over the report to the Chief Justice for implementation.
Last year, Chief Justice Willy Mutunga formed a task force to develop a bail and bond policy to guide courts on the best way to handle accused persons. The formation of the 8-member task force, chaired by Lady Justice Lydia Achode, came after the executive impressed upon the judiciary to deny suspected terrorist bail. Now, the task force met various stakeholders, including judges, prison officers, with a view to develop guidelines that match international best practices.
Anybody, whether you are an accused person, whether you are a family member, you will have a good idea from the outset. If I'm charged with this offense, the bond or bail terms are within this range. So you then don't say, oh, he's been favored because he's rich, nakaliwa because me I'm poor. You know the range.
The launch of the national bail policy comes at a time when inmates across the country requested the judiciary to harmonize bail and bonds, saying that there are discrepancies on how bail and bonds are being issued.
Why is it there major discrepancy in settled bail bond terms in Makadara Court, Kibera Court, and Minimali Court? What criteria are used to set bail or bond terms?
When the one gets a free bond, we would also suggest that free bond should be offered at least to persons with 2 or more sureties, if there is need to know where the whereabouts of the accused, to avoid them going missing.
However, a task force that was formed by the Chief Justice to look into past sentencing patterns in order to improve dispensation of justice by the judiciary is yet to submit its report for implementation. Justice Fred Ocheng, president of the Magistrate and Judges Association, says the task force led by the High Court Judge Justice Mbogoli Masaga is yet to complete its work in the next 2 months.
The one for sentencing, we are finished now going round on Tuesday this week. So we are working with the consultants who are both professors from the University of Nairobi, not judicial officers, who are going around with us. They will put together those views and come up with a first draft. We will look at it. We'll give it to Law Society to look at and other interested bodies and then finalize it.
Justice Mbogoli-led team is expected to come up with plans for suggested interventions that will include educating and engaging Kenyans and other stakeholders on the system used for sentencing and its effectiveness. Now, the policy on bonds and bails comes as a relief for prisoners who have been questioning the criteria that judges use while giving them bond or bail. Now, once the policy will be launched by Chief Justice Willie Mutunga, now inmates will know the amount that they're supposed to pay. For Abro Africa TV in Nairobi, I'm Brenda Zeda Rujidu.
Now it's some news of a first in Africa. First Lady Margaret Kenyatta has today presided over the launching of Lorna Kiplagat's sports clothing line here in Nairobi that has been billed as Africa's first exclusively tailored female sportswear.
Taunet Nelel, New Beginning hit song music celebrity Emmy Kosgei, who graced the occasion, described Lorna's milestone clothing line as another new beginning. The First Lady said she immediately fascinated with the sportswear when it was first introduced to her by Lorna last year, and said that it was a true gift for African women.
What attracted me to this apparel is the fact that it's the first uniquely African brand. It's a beautifully made brand, and that it's a brand for our women. As a mother and as a supporter of the Beyond Zero campaign, that stands for healthy living and better lifestyles for our mothers and children, I was overjoyed that finally we have a brand that resonates well with our daily lives and indeed with our campaign for a better future for Kenya's women.
The Lorna brand was originally launched for the European market last year on the sidelines of the Amsterdam Marathon in October, whereas today's launch at the Galleria shopping mall made the apparel's official entry in the African market. The First Lady said that as a mother, she is overjoyed that finally the Kenyan women have a sporting brand that resonates well with their daily lives.
Thank you.
Besides producing sportswear, the Lorna brand will also organize runs, have coaches, personal trainers and other consultants to support the development of the brand athletics in general. Lorna said that the brand will give a sense of belonging to the wearer as it carries the African spirit.
The Lorna brand is inspired by our beautiful continent, Africa, and our tagline is Feel Africa Running. So wherever you are running, or wherever you are in Lorna, you feel Africa running. The whole world knows that Africa, and Kenya in particular, produces the best runners in the world. That's why we made special designs that reflects true happiness and warm feeling of Africa, which is indeed evidently felt on our collection.
Besides her international exploit on the track, Lorna is known for other key milestones, including establishing the first tartan track outside Nairobi at a high-altitude training center in Iten, Elgeyo Marakwet County last year. The male version of the Lorna clothing line will be launched next year.
Still on news about First Lady Margaret Kenyatta, today she officially registered for the March 8th half marathon at KICC when she visited the one-week Beyond Zero exhibition that was opened yesterday. She received registration number 001 for the race.
To take part on the First Lady's half marathon, let us give a round of applause.
The Fast Assurance Company also presented 12 million donation to the First Lady that included 1 million shillings in cash to support the campaign and undertook to ensure the marathon's participants to the tune of 11 million shillings. The donation by the company was presented by Company Managing Director Stephen Githiga.
We are going to give a policy of 11 million shillings to cover for any public liability that may arise during the event. Over and above that, we are also going to we give a donation of 1 million shillings, giving a total of 12 million shillings. And we assure you that now and even in future, we are going to support this noble cause.
The 1 week Beyond Zero exhibition gives a chance to corporate bodies who have been partnering with the Beyond Zero initiative to showcase their business activities and how they tie in with the vision and aspirations of the Beyond Zero campaign. Now, although the registration for the half marathon closed on Friday, late registration will be allowed during the exhibition that closes on March 6th.
Now, some good news for elephant conservationists. China has announced a one-year ban on the import of African ivory carvings ahead of next week's visit by Britain's Prince William, a strong critique of the ivory trade. It is a move that has received praise from Kenya Wildlife Service and other conservationists who are hopeful that this will help reduce poaching.
Prince William has previously been critical of China over its consumption of ivory, while animal rights groups say that the country's growing appetite for contraband material has fueled a surge of poaching in Africa. China will hold approval for imports until late February next year. The ban will affect carvings acquired after 1975. Poaching of rhinos and elephant has been on the rise not only in Kenya, but in Africa as a whole. Kenya offers transit and source of the illegal ivory, while Thailand and China are the major consumers. Over 20,000 African elephants were killed for ivory in 2013, according to a Convention of International Trade in Endangered Species. According to Kenya Wildlife Service, 164 elephants and 36 rhinos were killed in Kenya last year.
The African market has for long been viewed as green market, with most foreign investors clamoring for space in the ever-growing business space. The arrival of the investors, particularly those from China, has received mixed reactions in some countries here in Africa.
After China's top leadership visited Tanzania last year, business life in Tanzania has not been the same. More foreign goods have gotten their way into the market. This, however, has been received with apprehension and some confusion of some sort, with some who fear competition, saying that the Chinese are flooding the market.
Kwa kifupi, vitu feki vimekuwa vingi vya Wachina. Wakina dada wanajiongezea kwa kutumia hivyo vitu vya Kichina, wanajichubua kutumia hivyo vitu vya Kichina, wanajiongezea miili yao, kitu ambacho kwa kweli sio sawa.
Some of the traders operating in Tanzania recommended that stiffer and more elaborate regulations should be put in place so as to give fair market share for both the local and foreign investors.
If they can set some condition for these people to come in here, because right now, as you can move in the streets, you can see a lot of Chinese in the streets actually. I don't know whether all these are meeting these conditions. So what we're saying is they should be given stiff, conditions for them to qualify being investors here in Tanzania.
Moving down to South Africa, Lesotho's Prime Minister Thomas Thabane has today cast his vote as the country went to the polls in early national elections. Feuding parties in Lesotho's ruling coalition are facing it off in the elections being held in a bid to restore stability 6 months after an attempted coup.
Thabane placed his vote in the village of Mahoke in Habia and said he hoped above everything else that the election would be honest.
Most important thing is for the election to be free, fair, and without incidents. And it's always been like that in Lesotho, and I hope this one will be just like that. Because we've got every reason to celebrate the fact that the world is paying so much attention to this specific election.
The vote is being held about 2 years ahead of schedule under a political deal brokered by South Africa, which surrounds the mountainous kingdom. Thabane accused his deputy Moetoa Metsing of working with the army to oust him, an allegation Metsing and the military dismissed. Local residents say they hope the election would bring more stability with fulfilled promises in the country and a better standard of life. Relations have been stormy between ABC and LCD, which have both been ruling the country since 2012, since Thabane dissolved parliament in June to avoid a no-confidence vote. Results are expected to trickle into the capital of Maseru tomorrow, but a final tally may not be known until early next week because of the remoteness of some communities in the rugged country with a poor road network.
Moving on, U.S. President Barack Obama met with Liberian President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf in the Oval Office of the White House to extend his condolences for the lives lost due to the Ebola crisis. Obama said that despite the progress, more is yet to be done.
The deadly disease took a heavy toll on the country and the region, and as pointed out by Obama, the global unity to fight the outbreak has immensely helped save lives.
I want to express my deepest condolences to the thousands who died from this deadly disease. Their families obviously continue to grieve. But what is extraordinary is because of President Sirleaf's leadership, because of the heroism of so many people in Liberia, and because of the actions of the United States and ultimately the international community, we have made extraordinary strides in driving back Ebola. Cases are now down 95% from their peak.
President Sirleaf said that she feels more re-energized to fight the disease to its final end.
As you correctly pointed out, even though 13 of our 15 political subdivisions have now, had 0 new cases, and even though we feel confident that we're getting to the place where we can really say we can confront and we can beat this disease, but we know we're not there yet.
Nearly 10,000 people have died in Liberia, Sierra Leone and Guinea over the past year. More than 4,000 of those deaths were in Liberia, but the number of new cases has plummeted in recent months, leaving many treatment centers empty, and the mission has already begun winding down. The troops were deployed to support the International Ebola Response Mission led by the U.S. Agency for International Development. The operation was initially expected to last between 9 and 12 months.
Boris Nemtsov, an outspoken critic of President Vladimir Putin and Russia's role in the Ukraine crisis, has been shot dead. He was shot on a bridge near the Kremlin just before midnight yesterday.
55-year-old Boris was shot 4 times in the back by assailants in a white car as he walked across the bridge in central Moscow with a Ukrainian woman who was unhurt. Boris is the most prominent opposition figure killed during Putin's 15-year rule. He was a former deputy prime minister who had feared he would be murdered. Putin condemned the brutal slaying and took the investigation under presidential control, saying it could have been a contract killing and a provocation on the eve of a big opposition protest Boris had been due to lead on Sunday. The killing brought attention to the tough treatment of Kremlin opponents in Putin's third term, during which several leading critics have been jailed or have fled the country following mass rallies against the former KGB spy 3 years ago.
A bridge connecting 2 departments of Bolivia collapsed yesterday evening following a heavy spell of rain in the central Cochabamba region, bringing down a truck that was on the bridge at the time of the collapse.
The bridge collapsed in the early hours of Friday morning, reportedly just as a vehicle carrying children and the elderly were crossing.
It happened at 2 in the morning. People were crossing with children, elderly with walking sticks. And from Cochabamba, they have not sent firefighters and police officers to help the poor people of this camp.
Some locals have accused the government of failing to maintain the bridge so as to avoid such accidents during the country's wet season.
It's been a while since the Company Roads Authority of Bolivia has maintained the bridge. A part of it collapsed, and then the rest of it went. Just when it collapsed, did they realize it should have been maintained? Now the bridge has fallen, and there is an accident.
No deaths have been reported at the scene, with firefighters arriving late at the site to save those still inside the vehicle trapped after the bridge collapsed.
At least 25 people have been killed and more than 17,000 households affected by the heavy seasonal rains since October.
In our final report tonight, a huge gas explosion in the United States, New Jersey, as recorded from a police vehicle show a house being thrown into air. Reports of any fatalities have not been made clear.
This video was recorded by a police camera car. Firemen and technical staff are seen here trying to stop the leakage. The house is exploding and ripping apart. According to this video, the explosion happened 4 days ago. Everything was contained and no lives lost.
And that's all we had for you on today's edition of Abrew Africa Primetime News. Many thanks for watching. My name is Gakunyi. I leave you with tomorrow's Weather Forecast.